Hey everybody, it's Elizabeth from Silvernest Homeschooling, mom of four, been homeschooling for 11 years now, and we are almost done with graduating our first senior, which is very exciting. But I wanted to go back and give some wonderful book suggestions that we used when we were first letting the kids learn to read. Some of these are things that I actually learned to read with as well. And think about like you're kind of past the Bob books or you're at the Bob books and the kids are getting a little more independent. What do you give them to help foster that love of learning to read and make them feel like they actually can really accomplish something? You know, they're kind of moved past, they're maybe work their way through a couple of phonics books and you're looking for a couple of suggestions on what to give them. And so I want to start out with the books that we used to actually teach my kids to read, especially the last one, Ant and Bee. And these are great because they have a section for you, the parent, to read the story. And then as you go along, there will be colors and things that the kids themselves learn to read out of it. So, for example, we pull up Ant and Bee and the Doctor. You'll see these words in red. And the words in red are the words that the kids are supposed to read. And then you have the words that you are supposed to read. And so they just go on these adventures and they teach them what the words are and they get progressively harder. They also have one about numbers, Happy Birthday, Ant and Bee, all kinds of great Ant and Bee books. So I've gone over them a little more in the how we taught our kids to read, but I did want to start with these because they are fantastic. They are from England, so their vocabularies might be a little different than ours in America, but that can make it all the more fun. And you're trying to learn different cultural things, and Ant and Bee are really good friends and they live in a teacup and we love them very much. So if you can find these, those are great. Some other ones I really enjoyed myself and that my kids enjoyed are like the Fire Cat. Now we're moving into more the easy, what I would call easy readers, maybe level 2, level 3 if you're using the levels. And this is all about a cat named Pickles who wants to do big things, but he struggles with finding his place in the world. And then he finally ends up learning that his special place is, instead of bullying the other cats, it's actually helping them. So it's a pretty fun, exciting story. The other ones we really like for when they're in that first beginning is I Broke My Trunk. Anything by Mo Willems is something that is just really, really great for those because they don't have a lot of words on the page and you can have them practice with you. There's a lot of dialogue. You can take turns. One of you can read Piggy, who is the pig, of course, and the other one can read Gerald, who is the elephant. I also like Mo Willems because he tries to draw in artwork styles that the kids can also draw in. He does that on purpose. And so if you have an artist who wants to draw, they can actually do their own. So we have I Broke My Trunk. There is a bird on your head. My friend is sad. Are you ready to play outside, which is a little longer. We also have the Unlimited Squirrel series. I Lost My Tooth. I Love My New Toy. I'm Invited to a Party. The Thank You Book, also a little bit longer, but still really good. Waiting is Not Easy. And Should I Share My Ice Cream? We have a couple more upstairs as well. And the library has a lot of Mo Willems because he's a more modern author and illustrator than, say, the Ant and Bees. So they should be around at your local library. And of course, you can see how you can choose some that also maybe go with some of your kids' emotions, some of the things that they're learning about in life at that age. All right. The other thing I recommend, this is a really big book, but I love Richard Scarry. And I love to learn from Richard Scarry when I was a kid. And even before I could read, I really enjoyed looking at the pictures in the Busy Town books and then trying to figure out what they were saying just by the pictures nearby. So this is one I kept just because I really liked it. It has stories in it. It has labels in it. This one, here's a good example. Is they go all around the town. It has all these little words that go by each person. And you can even see like the house will have all the words in it. and then they'll divide it up with a story. And so you've got this fun where you can read them the stories and they can look at the pictures that have labels, and they can just slowly begin to recognize that things are, and I love the cutout of this house. It's just so fun. But they just have just such a good time with the artwork, and the storylines are funny. They talk about stuff that's kind of practical, like building the new road, all the work it would take to build a new road, all the construction workers, all the different kind of vehicles that it takes to do that. And then of course there's always a mess. There's people to look for, characters like Lowly Worm. And so if you're looking for something more of a flip through book, you're looking for things to be able to read to your child but also learn from, and then letting them kind of sink their own teeth into, this is a great combination. I really like their storybook as well, which has a lot of really fun stories in it. Very, very hilarious stories, and all animals. So, all right. But getting back to the things they're going to read themselves, after we finish Ant and Bee, we often move on to The Cat in the Hat and Dr. Seuss in general, because everything rhyming with the Dr. Seuss means that it's easier for them to guess what's coming next. Also, this particular book, The Cat in the Hat, they only use a certain amount of words. So the words keep getting repeated, which gives them confidence as they have seen that word before. And the same thing with one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. Once they recognize fish, they can just change that first word each time. And, you have some words that might be difficult for them. But then you have a lot of little words like car and say and of. And when I pull them in, oh dear, my head sticks out of bed up here. So that rhyming again helps them to guess what's coming next, helps them to remember, and the rhythm is really good for their brain. So we do really like Dr. Seuss, and so we do use them towards the very beginning. Also, we like the original Berenstain Bears series. There's Picnic, there's one about Christmas, and again, you're looking for things with lots of space so that the interesting illustrations, but you want space so the kids can see the words and be able to sound them out. And different fonts can be helpful. There is a dyslexic font that some books are printed in that can even be more helpful. And again, this is going to rhyme. Where are we going on our picnic, Dad? To the very best place in the world, my lad. So yeah, we find that to be helpful, teaching them, again, gaining confidence. All right, then we move on a little bit to a slightly higher level of reading. So you can see these are even labeled level 2. So they're thinking, once they've moved past, and then they even put with help, because there are some bigger words. Friends is not necessarily an easy word, but all right, let's look at Amelia Bedelia. So Amelia Bedelia, if you haven't heard, Peggy Parrish, she also wrote the really hilarious and wonderful Mrs. Pigwiggle series, which I highly, highly recommend when they get even older. But the Amelia Bedelia is all about a woman that comes to help a family, and she gets everything wrong because she's literal. So bulbs to her are light bulbs, not flowers. And so whatever she's doing, Amelia Bedelia in the surprise shower, she actually gets out a hose and squirts down everybody because she thinks that the baby shower or the wedding shower is actually going to include a shower. And so she just gets everything mixed up that they ask her to do, but she cooks so well, nobody wants to get rid of her. So we have Thank You, Amelia Bedelia, Teach Us, Amelia Bedelia, and Amelia Bedelia, where they first have her come to the house. And this series is so good that my 6th grader still has them on her special bookshelf. She never took them off because she loves them that much. And I think there's not really a greater recommendation than the fact that somebody would want them still on their shelf. Now, the time period, they were written more in the 50s, 60s, so you're going to have a little more classical viewpoint of what the kids are doing, what the grown-ups are doing, not as much TV, that kind of thing. But it's just hilarious, all the hijinks that she gets up to. Right. In the same way, we have the Frog and Toad, our series. These are an older series too, but man, Arnold LaBelle, these are great, classic books. There's a reason that kids love them over and over again. My kids love them. In fact, they have performed them as plays when they got to high school. They actually ended up memorizing and performing them with friends for other kids because they're that funny and they're that good. And if you can see the key running through our books, they tend to be funny or really interesting, but they have to, kind of a sense of humor really helps with that. So you can see they have a version of what they think different levels should be. So this one is definitely going to be something that your kids can start to read with you and then read on their own. And you can see there's more words, but still a lot of white. And we even like to put like a little card. So say they're getting overwhelmed by this many words, you can put a little index card and block off just the line they're trying to read. So let me see if I can pull this off with my other book. So for example, all those words are overwhelming. You can go, "But Toad," said Frog, "I will be lonely until then." So you have this ability to block off, help them to focus just on the line they're trying to read. Again, the artwork is really great, and it's about these two best friends and how they handle different kinds of challenges. There's one about them wanting to have willpower. There's one about how they don't like to wake up at the same time. So yeah, Frog and Toad are friends. Days with Frog and Toad. Frog and Toad together. And Frog and Toad all year. And if you saw that at the beginning. This one actually was given by my son's grandparents because it's that good. And of course, they've kept them all this time. And like I said, they're just super, super fun. So highly recommend Frog and Toad. All right, Mercer Mayer, also classic. If you've never heard of Mercer Mayer, he does some really funny stuff. And we really like his books as well. And he has a lot of series like Just Grandma and Me, Just Grandpa and Me, that kind of thing. And they go on these adventures. And again, you've got a lot of nice white space around the words and a lot of really silly things happening. And so Little Critter is the main character, and he has adventures, and he's trying to figure out the world. So he's usually right where the readers are trying to learn about life as well as things in general. And so like he tries to blow up his own floater and he can't, so Grandma helps him. But everything's written as, "I found a nice seashell for Grandma, but it was full of a crab." So like it's always this, he's trying so hard to say how he had this really great day with his grandma. Of course, Grandma's given us a side eye, so she knows that he's maybe not telling all of the story. He goes, "This one here, I bought hot dogs for Grandma and Me, but it fell in the sand, so I washed them off." And of course here she's trying to eat the sandy hot dog because she has a good attitude. She's a great grandma. And tried to fly the kite. Of course, the kite gets stuck. So a lot of really funny stories. Great to read aloud to your, older, maybe 3-4-year-olds, but also really great for them to read on their own. They feel really accomplished. Just My Lost Treasure. Just Me and My Dad. Just Me and My Mom. They go for an adventure to the city. Just Big Enough. A lot of them have to do with like, feeling too small or when I get bigger. I'm Sorry. So he makes messes all the time. And then Just Me and My Friend, which is about learning how to deal with friends. We also have some about like cleaning his room and he loses everything and yeah, all that kind of fun stuff. All right, so those are my recommendations for your kind of past the Bob books or in the Bob books, and you're looking for something a little more interesting, maybe a little more of a hook to pull the kids in. And I hope that helps. Maybe, every child reads at a different age, but I'd say probably between kindergarten, first grade, second grade, even into third grade. Like I said, my kids still enjoy some of these now. Another recommendation just in general is that we heard from somebody is if you don't find the book interesting, then maybe find something else. Like really great literature is enjoyed by all ages. So when you're picking things for them to read, yes, you want them to be interested in what it is that they're reading. Go to the library, see, you can use the level 1s, 2, 3 if you're trying to like guess where they might be. We kind of did that a little bit here and there just so I could get an idea of how they were progressing. Not too much stock in those numbers. Those are just, somebody sat down and did that, so it can be helpful. But think about how many times you're going to read a book if you buy it. So consider checking them out first before you pay for them from the library. I mean, I know that most libraries have Frog and Toad. You don't have to own them. Like I said, most people own the Mo Willems at the library. They have more modern Bernstein Bears that it might be for a little bit older crowd, but I know a lot of the classic Dr. Seuss are at most of the libraries too. So feel free to go ahead and just check them out and try them with your kids and see which style they like, artwork, etc. And then if you fall in love with one and you like reading it, they like reading it, then you can consider buying it, owning it, and reading it over and over. There is proof that if somebody does own a book, and not too many books, but like a fair amount, they will tend to want to read it over and over again, and there is a huge benefit to that. So, all right, we love you guys. Hope you're having a great day. You can hit like, subscribe, all the things. If you feel like it, leave a comment on what your favorite series to teach kids to read so that other moms dads can learn about that. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.